So is Mr. Dolan here? Great. And again, condolences to the Liu family.
Thank you for holding this hearing. And on behalf of the Liu family, I've been asked to come here to say, please keep our streets safe. This child died unnecessarily because of the use of an application in the provision of UberX services. And UberX is denying all responsibility to this family for what happened. These services show empty vehicles. That's what they sell. This man was on the service. He was an empty vehicle. He was providing goods and services for UberX, and UberX is turning its back on this family. Now, I have heard that this is a new industry. This isn't a new industry. Transportation of people have been around for a long time. It's changed from horse and buggy to now stagecoach to now these TNCs. There's nothing new about the need for safety. And these companies are shifting the responsibility for the harms that they cause and the costs of their operations onto the taxpayers. Because the Liu family doesn't have insurance. So who do you think is paying for their insurance, for the health care? Us. Not UberX, not Uber, us. This is a very real risk to this city in picking up these expenses.
So Mr. Dolan, please elaborate on the economic impacts on the city.
Well, given the fact that Uber has read the PUC's rulings in the provision of transportation services, they say that a vehicle that's logged on, they will not cover unless they are going to pick up a fare or they are carrying a fare. So the city will pick up the injuries to those people if they don't have insurance. No workers' compensation. If a driver gets hurt, one of the drivers who is unknowingly participating in this scheme gets hurt, the city will pick up that person's wage loss potentially under the GA, and it may pick up their medical expenses. Other vehicles that are hit that don't have appropriate insurance, the city will be picking up their tab as well. So this is what's happening is these businesses are shifting the costs of safety that the taxi industry builds into its pricing mechanism, that the Taxi and Limousine Commission takes into account. Why this company or these companies are being so successful is it's pushing off the costs of safety, maintenance, driver training, and the injuries that it causes onto the community. They can't, these taxi drivers, and look, I sued taxi drivers too, so no love lost there. But these taxi drivers aren't going to be able to compete. And what's going to happen is that we're going to destabilize the transportation industry. If taxi cabs are driven out of business, then these folks get to surge price, which means it's raining, we're going to double our price. It's New Year's, we're going to triple our price. Then people aren't going to be able to afford transportation, and it's this body's responsibility to do that. I disagree, and I'd like to answer Supervisor Campos's question about preemption. Good questions, folks. You're not completely preempted. The rulemaking's not closed. Section 2 hasn't happened. They haven't made rules on the insurance issues. Go at it. The other thing is there's case law directly on point. I was researching it back there, which states that you have the authority to tax for revenue purposes only. So you can tax the hell out of them if you want to pay what you are having to pick up to pay for. Additionally, as a lawyer, I would challenge preemption by the PUC because what the PUC has said is this is a safety net, which means it has set a floor, not a ceiling. And given the fact that they have not been able to fully and completely provide rules on all areas, that is still your authority. The PUC is here telling you that they haven't done what they could do. They've done as much as they believe they can so far. But I believe there's much that you can do. And these insurance gaps are not only affecting the people who are run over by these cars, but the drivers themselves who are vulnerable. And they could lose everything if they hurt somebody and they get sued by somebody like me, because Uber will not stand behind them. Lyft will not stand behind them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dolan. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I would just like to say that because this technology is in its infancy, doesn't mean like they should act as social infants. That they have a responsibility with their $200 and some million of backing to pay for the costs of their services so that there can be fair competition. That does not exist currently. In the the rules put forth by the PUC, they're inadequate. There is an insurance gap. People are suffering because of it. And these businesses are turning their backs on the citizens. And what's going to happen is ultimately somebody's going to have to regulate them because the taxis are going to be gone. And you're just going to have these unsafe vehicles out there. So you'll be regulating a whole new provider, not a new industry, in the same old way. There is nothing new here, except who's making the profit.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Dolan. Please wrap up really quickly.
I have written comments that I'd like to submit to the clerk for the record and that I have available to others if they'd like them as well.
Thank you so much. Jonathan Lyon.